Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the row about whether or not the decision of the United States government to lift Trump's steel tariffs on the EU but leave them in place for the UK is down to Brexit. Opinion seems to be divided. Our Brexit government think not, everyone thinks it is. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So there have been reports that Biden's government are flexing their muscles in an attempt to get Boris Johnson to take his Brexit responsibilities, particularly concerning Ireland, of course, more seriously. A few weeks ago, the US government decided to end Trump's tariffs on EU steel and aluminium, but not crucially for the UK. Now, this was reported as being because Washington was escalating its warnings to the British government about unilaterally fiddling with the Northern Ireland Protocol. Several legislators in the United States have talked about this, and previous subtle hints were replaced with more explicit and official warnings more recently. But Penny Mordaunt, who's Boris Johnson's trade minister, said that the two issues are completely unrelated. However, she failed to say, as far as I can tell, why she thinks that the United States has not lifted the same tariffs on UK steel and aluminium. I mean, the circumstantial evidence is fairly weighty without anything else. The White House and both branches of Capitol Hill have officially made it clear that they are opposed to the UK government's threats to unilaterally change the terms of the Northern Ireland Protocol. That is not up for debate. President Biden, when announcing the end of these tariffs against the EU, described the European Union as being the closest of friends. Not one of the closest, the closest. So here's the thing. Trump applied these tariffs on the EU. That, of course, included the UK at the time. They remained on the UK when we left the EU. The US President, the House of Representatives and the Senate have all expressed approval for the Northern Ireland Protocol and disapproval for the unilateral changing of the protocol by the British government by triggering Article 16. The US then removes Trump tariffs from the EU. Of course it does. It wants to build bridges with the EU. But it leaves them applied to the UK, even though they were the same tariffs applied at the same time for the same reason. Now, the President hasn't publicly said that this is over our Northern Ireland Protocol stance, so you could imagine that this is just very compelling circumstantial evidence. And even if that were the case, and the Trade Minister is going to say that the events are totally unrelated, then she really ought to say why the US has not lifted those tariffs on UK products. Must be a reason. And she is presumably in contact with her counterpart in the United States government, so she must be privy to that reason. So why not share it with us? The bottom line is that the US is trying to repair bridges with the EU, as I say. Of course, I'm sure it would like good working relationship with the UK as it would with any country, but only on their terms, and their terms are Ireland comes first. Not even just because most of Ireland is part of the EU. Ireland itself has an incredibly influential relationship with the United States. But the evidence is rather more than circumstantial. See, the Financial Times, in reporting on this story, said that they had seen a communication whereby an official in the US Commerce Department stated quite clearly that the decision was down to the UK's threat to trigger Article 16 of the Northern Ireland Protocol. Now, the Financial Times would not make such a statement without having the evidence to back it up. Despite what people may think of the way our press presents certain issues, and I've said plenty, there are journalistic standards still. Like even the likes of the Daily Express and the Mail and that, who will spin a good yarn, they would not claim a position without being damn sure of their sources. Remember that Boris Johnson was sacked as a journalist at the Tory supporting Times for making up quotes. They don't do that. So this communication is genuine, which means one of three things, I suppose. Firstly, the official making this statement was misinformed. Second, the Trade Minister has not herself seen the same communication that the newspaper was able to get access to. Or third, that the Trade Minister has seen it and has therefore lied to Parliament. The fact that Mordaunt said that although there may be some in the United States who are linking the two doesn't mean the two are linked suggests to me that she is actually aware of the communication that the Financial Times reported on. So she seems to be trying to suggest that this official from the US government is misinformed, I suppose. But for me, the link is clear, and the outcome is equally clear, because this makes things even worse for British steelmakers. Like, it was bad enough when the US was applying punitive 25% tariffs. That was bad, right? That made them less competitive. But now that they've been lifted on the EU, it's worse, because EU steel is now going to be way cheaper than British steel in the US market. Competitiveness is all relative. When you need a product, steel is a vital resource. When you need something, you obviously pay as little as you can, but you pay what you have to pay if you need it. Overnight, the US government has made our steel more expensive relatively to that of our competitors in much of the rest of Europe. More economic damage that is down to Brexit. Whatever you think of Mordaunt's protestations, these tariffs were lifted on the EU. If we'd still been part of the EU, that would have included us. And the thing is that if the US government is happy to keep a punitive tariff in place for the UK, for whatever reason you think it might be, then they will also be happy to impose extra ones on their own if our position worsens. That is the price we pay for not only isolating ourselves from a position of much greater economic and political might, but also picking fights with someone stronger than us. This is not unlike challenging Billy the Kid to a gunfight armed with your trusty pea shooter. Because that's what the US government will be saying here. We're keeping these tariffs in place because you've threatened to trigger Article 16. Try and have a guess what we'll do if you actually trigger Article 16. That's what they're saying. And it also highlights something else. It's yet another confirmation that Boris Johnson doesn't care about the economic harms of his ideological policies. Because consider why these steel and aluminium tariffs are still in place. Because Boris Johnson signed a treaty to get something he wanted, but now that he has what he wanted, he wants to go back on his word. We are suffering economic harm, not for some eventual gain, but because Boris Johnson and his Tory Brexit cabal refuse to accept their responsibilities. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.